Now, calories are obviously important in the weight loss equation, but the good news is that you don't have to count your calories or control your portion sizes in order to gain full control of your health and reach your ideal body weight. And I know that may sound confusing because the entire weight loss industry is about eating less food, about calorie restricting, about portion control, and about counting your calories. Now, we know that this is going to sound crazy, but we sincerely mean it when we say that you can eat carbohydrate-rich foods to satisfaction. And when you understand the principles of calorie density, feeling satisfied becomes virtually effortless. So if you take a look at the image on the screen, you'll see there's 3 different categories of foods, including green light foods on the left, yellow light foods in the middle, and red light foods on the right. The foods in the green light category on the left are shown with a number next to them. And the number represents the number of calories per pound in that given food. So butter lettuce, if you eat a pound of it, will give you 60 calories. Broccoli, if you eat a pound of it, will give you 150 calories, and so on and so forth. Now you can see here that the range for the green light foods goes from approximately 60 on the lowest end with butter lettuce upwards of black beans at about 600. The yellow light category in the middle includes foods that are slightly more processed and slightly higher in their total fat content. And some of these foods range from all the way down to 550 calories per pound, north of 2630. In the red light category, we have foods that are considered high in saturated fat, high in cholesterol, and higher in calorie density. The range here is from shrimp all the way down at 540, north of olive oil at 4,010 calories. So if you want to look at this in a graph, take a look at the graph that you see on the screen now. This shows you a distribution of the calorie density of green light foods versus yellow light foods versus red light foods. And as you can see, the green light foods are the lowest in the calorie density region, from about 60 to about 600. The yellow light foods span a wider range of calorie density, and the red light foods span the largest. So this number says, okay, if I gave you a pound of food, how many calories would that pound of food contain? And the answer is, well, it depends on what you put in front of me. Okay, if you gave me a pound of red meat versus a pound of chickpeas, the two of them would have a completely different calorie count. But if we make the assumption that you're going to eat approximately the same weight of food per day, then that will help you determine approximately how many calories you can put in to fulfill that weight, depending on the type of food that you're eating. So what you want to do in general is move from the red light category to the yellow light category, and then from the yellow light category to the green light category. And if you can make that migration from red to yellow and from yellow to green, then what that means is that you're decreasing the number of calories per bite that you put into your mouth. And that's a good thing. But what you don't necessarily think of is that just because you're eating foods that have a lower calorie density does not mean you're going to be hungry. This is a very, very, very important point. What most people think is that as soon as you start to eat more fruits and vegetables, you'll hear this from people say, oh, well, I need something substantial. I need real food. And what that means is that psychologically, they've made the association that if a plate of food doesn't contain a meat or a dairy product, then it's considered not calorie dense enough for them. But that is a purely emotional conclusion. But when we talk about eating green light foods, we recommend eating larger meals, plates that are larger, bowls that are larger, and having more food. And as a result of that, you end up consuming a larger volume of food. You end up taking more bites. And as a result of that, you actually feel full, even though you're inducing a calorie deficit. Now, there's one single factor inside of food that is the most important when it comes to feeling full, and that's called bulk. Bulk is a term given to the combination of water and fiber together, which occupies space in your digestive system when you eat it. And that the increased distension of your digestive system is what mechanically stretches your stomach, your small intestine, and your large intestine. And nerve endings that are embedded into the walls of your stomach, small intestine, and large intestine make a phone call up to your brain and send neurological signals directly to your apostat, which is in your hypothalamus. And it says, hey, by the way, there's something inside of me. Can you reduce your food intake? So your brain responds by saying, okay, cool. There's something inside of me. I can feel that I'm filling with some material. Let me decrease the amount that you feel like you want to eat. And as a result of that, this two-way phone call makes it so that as soon as your digestive system begins to descend, your brain says, okay, let's slow down or even stop eating. Now, scientists believe that because bulk is the most effective satiety signal, the amount of bulk in your food is the single most important determinant of how satisfied you feel after a meal. Okay, now you guessed it. All of the green light foods that you saw on the screen earlier are high in bulk. And the red light foods have, well, effectively zero because most of them come from the animal world. So it makes sense to prioritize green light foods and minimize yellow light foods and potentially even eliminate red light foods if possible. I know it's possible because I've done it, and we've coached more than 10,000 people to actually do the same thing. The question is, do you want it to happen? Because if you want it to happen, you can also make it possible. Okay. Now we're going to go to a whole lot more depth on these recommendations in our full piece on calorie density, which you can check out by clicking on the link somewhere on this video. This video was just a snippet of a much more in-depth discussion. Click on the link on the screen to check out the full-length episode. Now, the science behind health is overly complicated, unfortunately, but getting healthy doesn't have to be. Visit masteringdiabetes.org/start. Answer some questions about yourself and schedule a free consultation to talk with somebody on our team who's going to show you exactly how we've transformed the lives of thousands of people using the Mastering Diabetes method. We have a limited number of spots available, and that's why it's imperative to find a good fit. Again, visit masteringdiabetes.org/start to schedule a free zero commitment discovery call and start taking control of your health today.